Here is another wreath from Shinoda. That's the beginning. In 3 minutes, I'll have the end. I'm going to take some wire. I'm going to take this reindeer I found, and I'm going to wire it to the front of my wreath. Yes? I thought so. Even after 30 years when I'm designing, I still turn to myself and go, uh-huh. Yeah. I always get a second opinion. And I have a lot of women who work for me. And I always say, women make better designers than men. That's my theory. Why? Because when you're little, you're taught to like patterns and color and pretty things, and we're taught to love mud and football. So I think you get a jump start on design. Because when I'm designing bridal bouquets, I'll turn to my staff, the girls, I'll go, yes? I'll go, well, add a touch of that. And I'm like, oh my God, you were so right. That feminine bone I wasn't born with. So I always think women make actually better floral designers. So I'm going to wire in this. Debbie wanted me to do everything like pre-done. I'm going to be up here for 3 hours. And I'm the fastest. Am I the greatest designer that ever lived? Let's not go there. Stop it. I'll take your prizes back. But I am the fastest. So there's our next move. Now, I want this one to look, just snipping some of these apart, stripping off the ends. I want this one to look more, this is for my Carolinas, down that area, you know, where there's no snow area, southern Carolinas, Tennessee. You gotta turn that up, it's not melting. This is for my southern Christmas, where I'm going home for the holidays. If you have any questions, just yell them out. All the stuff I just randomly pulled from Shinoda. Did that make it through without more falling? Again, spread the wealth. I have some other designs coming up where they won't be laying down. They'll be easier for you to watch me create. But this one, I'm just whipping it together, like everything else. So I'm going to put in a little fern to bring it around to a little bit warmer climate. Ikebana. Ikebana is a word that is trendy. I know 23 schools of Japanese flower design, how to do them. Ikebana is but one school. People refer to it as all schools. And the school they usually refer to it here in America is the 3 pieces, the sun, man, and the moon. And you stick them in, and then you talk about life. There's nothing to learn.
It's just so structural.
They're what?
It's so structural and mathematical.
You can only be so structural and so mathematical with 3 pieces. Is my theory. I've been to Ikebana classes by grand Ikebana masters and I fell asleep. So, I think it has its place, but I don't. So here's where we're going. See, it's getting more southern. Just by adding a little bit of that other vegetation to the pine, we're taking it in a new direction. But it's specifically one school, but people tend to refer to Ikebana as all the schools. Any other questions? Is it time for one of my stories from the road? So I did a television show in Miami, NBC Today, teaching someone how to design flowers. And, well, prelude to the story. I got to the car rental in Miami, and they said, Mike, all we have is this hot Camaro for you, real hot, red. I said, no, I'm too old for this freaking stuff. I got to drive like this. You know, the windshields are like this big. I'm like, I don't want it. They're like, well, you're going to have to wait 2.5 hours. I said, ugh. All right, give me the Camaro. So I rent the Camaro, and I'm working all week, and I'm driving around, and I think on the last day, it's Friday, I think, I should enjoy this convertible. And remember, I just done NBC Today television show. So I'm in the parking lot of the wholesale house, I hit the button, and the top goes up, sun comes streaming in, and I start driving around Miami. And people are pointing at me. And I'm like, wow, I'm getting more famous. Or, oh, people watch that show. I'm going, hey, how are you? Little Hollywood wave. And I'm driving around, more people are. I'm like, hi, how are you? Thinking, wow, a lot of people watch that NBC show. So I go through the McDonald's and I order number 2, small Coke, no ice. And I leave and I hear chatter behind me. And I think, now, they were watching that show. They're at McDonald's serving up number 2s. What the hell is it? And I'm driving around, and also I'm going down a side street, and a Cuban guy in a truck, pickup truck, comes at me and pulls up this way and goes, in Spanish. I go, what? The hood of the convertible was straight up in the air 20 feet. I didn't hold the button long enough for it to go all the way. So I'm driving around Miami like this. Like the freaking flying nun of South Beach. But what I screamed is when I turned around, I looked up, I thought a building was falling over on me. This second roof was as tall as the top of this. I couldn't believe how tall it was if you let it extend before it comes back down. So I wasn't that cool in Miami. I took it back. I said, I told you guys I didn't want this goddamn thing. Now get it out of here. So I'm not that popular. I'm not that famous. For a moment I was. Hold on, almost done. Any questions?
Use a lot of artificial materials in your design.
Great question. I was going to get to that. Question of the day. How many of you have silk flowers in your house? Yeah, quite a bit. I have a lot of designer friends who make a lot of money designing silk flowers. I've done my share of them, millions of them, but mostly in the 80s and the 90s and the 2000s. So what do I think of silk flowers? I think that for me, I'm not going to have Christmas this year with silk tulips and fake pine in the middle of the table. So I don't use them for that purpose, but I use them for accents around the room, which is I'm going to prove, this is what this show is all about. How to present silk flowers in a new modern way. Instead of them having to be the centerpiece, you use them as decor for holidays and things. So, was that the question? Yeah, I don't use a ton, but here, isn't this much prettier? Take it around, walk it around.